Or you can call me the Moses of talk radio. You can call me the Frankenstein of talk radio. Call me the Einstein of talk radio. You can call me anything you want, but my name is Michael Savage. And we're talking about one question today, which is slavery still relevant today? If you missed my opening, please do not call the show. It means that you're a typical straggler and you get everything out of context. There was a great African-American leader named Booker T. Washington. In fact, Booker T. Washington was perhaps the greatest black leader until perhaps Martin Luther King Jr., but in some ways Booker T. Washington did more. He was from the last generation of black American leaders born into slavery. He was actually born into slavery. And between 1890 and 1915, Booker T. Washington was the dominant leader in the African American community. He founded many things. He wrote great books. Mainly he talked about compromise. And of course, he was opposed by the radical blacks and the radical commie whites. By the way, we no longer call them liberals. There will no one on this show who will call them will ever refer to the word liberal or socialist again. As of yesterday, I hereby declare all those on the left Bolsheviks. And soon you will hear the word Bolshevik being used repeatedly on all radio shows, as sure as I'm sitting here. We're watching a Bolshevik revolution occur in the United States of America. The leaders of it are very clear, and the Democrat Party is the Bolshevik Party of today. But anyway, getting back to Booker T. Washington, God, the time is so short, there's so much to do. Booker T. Washington was a very powerful man who wrote a great book, and as I said, born into slavery, emancipated, highly educated, and he was named the first leader of the new Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. He was a popular spokesman for African American citizens. He built huge support with black people, black ministers, educators, businessmen, and it kept growing and growing. National leaders, white and black, came to him. He raised funds, opened new small rural schools in the South. And Washington argued that the surest way for blacks to gain social rights was to demonstrate industry, thrift, intelligence, and property. Oh, my God, what a long way we've come. How far we've come, Jesse Hy Jackson. Demonstrating industry, thrift, intelligence, and property. But he was opposed by some blacks, especially the leaders of the new NAACP, who is now behind tearing down the Robert E. Lee statues. You see, the NAACP is not this benign group that you may think it is. Read about the NAACP, especially W.E.B. Du Bois, who were into heavy, heavy-duty protest. Now let's move on. He wrote 14 books, including Up from Slavery. Great book. It's still read in the schools today. And he warned that in order to overcome pervasive racism in the long run, we need to compromise. Yes, he funded litigation for civil rights cases. But he warned this, and listen carefully to me. All you Bolsheviks, we know who you are. We know what you're doing. Washington warned that confrontation will lead to disaster for the outnumbered blacks in society, and that cooperation with supportive whites was the only way to overcome pervasive racism in the long run. Listen to me very carefully. We do not want another civil war in this country, nor do you. If you are an agitator, if you are one of these college dumbbell agitators, be aware of something. Nobody wins in war. Now, Booker T. Washington is quoted widely. I'm going to read one quote that's very important for you to hear. This is Booker T. Washington. There is another class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles, they have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Boy, did he ever see Jesse Hy Jackson and Al Sharpton and the other race baiters. He certainly saw in his deep vision Barack Hussein Obama. Boy, did Obama cash in on something he never suffered from. And he's still cashing that check. He hasn't stopped yet. What else do you want me to say? You got more in this opening 25 minutes that you're going to get than you're going to get anywhere else for the rest of the week. I can guarantee you. You got a dose of reality, a dose of history, a dose of futurism, and a dose of me.